Hi, this is Bob, and for today's 10-minute tour, we're going to take a high-level look at the Common Tasks tab under the Applications section. You've got two sections in here, File and Tools. Under File, you've got Company Settings. I did a video on the General function in here. That's kind of how you set up your company. Jump in there real quick so you can sort of see it. But set up your company in here, put addresses to find stuff at, etc. and so on, and whether you're using a different accounting method of cash, accrual, or both, and how you assign batches. In here you can also set file locations. And so in here you can put a file location for different stuff. One thing you'll probably want to do is put in one for your printouts. So all your print journals and so on, if you save them automatically, all go to the same spot, not into the main data folder. Custom descriptions is where you are able to give individual names of things a more specific name if you prefer. In one of my other videos I talked about we have journals that or vouchers, excuse me, that we use for accounts payable, and that's where that got set up, is right there. You can do other functions in here, adding lists and adding information, changing the length of fields and so on. But a lot of that's done when you first set up the software, so you don't want to play in here a lot. Next thing is custom fields. So custom fields, there's a lot of them in Timberline. And you can go in and give different fields different names. Let's see if I can find one. No, I can't get into some of these because people are active in the data. But you can go in and do like a drop down of lists of names and so on for fields. You can take a custom field that's sitting in the, say, AP vendor setup screen and add some descriptions for it, put it to a different use. Send is where you can set up a way to send files to a bunch of different people. Some can receive it as a fax, some could receive it as an email, others it would get printed for. And you set it up in this screen along with some other sections. But so you're aware of the functionality, you can actually send one report to 5 or 6 different people, and each person get it the way they prefer. A job site might get it by fax. You know, your president might get it as an email, and the guy in the office next door to you might get it as a printout. Print setup, that's a pretty basic screen. That's just where you go in and tell what your favorite printer is, or it'll default to most of the time. Send settings. This is where you go in and kind of put where stuff is coming from for each of those 3 different methods. So for email, faxing, and printing, and you can create a cover sheet for your printer so people know who it's got to go to, etc. Printouts is where you go to find printouts that you've saved. Now the method we use with these, we created a folder called Print Journals. They automatically sort to month, or excuse me, year, person, module, then type of report, and then if you go in you'll get all the reports put in using a coding system that you set up. Under Tools, you've got Upgrade Files. So whenever you upgrade the software, you have to go in and upgrade the files. The first thing it'll do is ask if you've done a backup of your data files. In my case, I'm going to say no because I don't want to go any farther, but that's where you go do an update or an upgrade of the files. New issues, I'll do a separate recording on, but an issue is kind of a notebook for problems you run into in the software. We don't use it a lot yet. Really, it came out when we bought Info Assistant. I think you have to have that to get issues. And what it does is it actually tracks problems. So, John Smith is getting this report he shouldn't be getting, when the follow-up, the urgency, classification, what the status is, notified date. You can automatically email people on it, and it can link to specific folders and files. It's a pretty neat little system from the looks of it, but have yet to put it to use. So as part of this training series, I'll try and work through some of those. Formulas is where all the formulas in the software are kept. So with the exception of design formulas. So these are public formulas that are available in pretty much every module. We'll deal with them more as you get into writing formulas for different modules. Background tasks, most of you have seen down here at the bottom. It's that T. If you click on it, you get this screen that shows when stuff is started and stopped and so on. I use it all the time to make sure whether something's done or not. So it's a good one to pop up if you accidentally close it. You can get to a calculator here, do your math on it. You can do a copy and then paste it into the system. So it's kind of handy for that. Log viewer. Log viewer, and this may be too slow to do, but log viewer will pop up a log of all the activity on the computer. It's a little complex thing to look at, but the system, depending on how it's set up, will track almost every keystroke that's made in Sage. Let you know who went in, who changed that vendor code, who ran the checks, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and this is going to be it's a big file, so it's going to take a while. And I'm going to pause while it's finishing. And there it finally came to a stop here. You can see that going back 30 days, it has over $200,000 records. It'll only display 200,000. Then you can option it to shrink it down. So you can see in here everything that anybody or system did. So Timber Scan's working in the background. My contract assistant was in doing certain stuff here. If you click on it, you can get a better idea what they were doing. Where's that? Is that on my other screen? Yes. So she logged in for ODBC access and so on. So if a problem happens in the system, this is where you go to dig into it. Close that, and let's go in here again. I'm going to hurry through these. File tools. This is where you do your backups, copies, restores, move files, etc., rename them. Generally, you want to do the stuff through here, not through Windows Explorer. That can cause you some issues. We'll dig deeper into this in a later video. File Doctor is where you go, can't get into it right now, but where you go to clean up files. If you're getting errors and so on, sometimes they can be fixed in there. There again, we'll go into that deeper in another spot. System verification is a little task that will run to scan your system. It does this usually automatically when you first start up, but it goes through and tests, make sure everything's working as far as what's needed for Sage 300 CRE. And it's a fairly fast process. That's it. Customize. I did a video on this the other day. Shows how to make your system a little better for you. So watch that video and that'll teach you some of the stuff on that process. Options. allows you to also set up some stuff specific, how you want the dates showing, report settings, mail settings. Here's how I set up my journals. So they go to that organized file system I have. And finally, the last thing you'll see, which is probably the first thing you should do if you had a new company you want to add, is to go through Setup Central. This is a wizard that takes you through step by step on how to set up a system. And I may show you that later on too. All right, I'm a little over my 10 minutes, so that's it for today's 10-minute tour. Thanks much for watching. Catch you next time.